Guys, welcome back to another vlog. This week has been a little bit busy for me because it is Black Friday weekend, and as a small business owner, Black Friday is kind of a big deal. This is when I pretty much have the biggest sale of the year. This goes for me and a lot of other small businesses as well, and obviously the big corporations too. I will say that Black Friday is definitely not what it used to be, but I am still trying my best to give you guys a decent sale. But at the end of the day, I am not a huge corporation that makes billions and trillions of dollars. So when I do my sales, it's basically around what I can afford for the business. So today is actually Black Friday itself. It's a few hours before my Black Friday sale is going to go live. And I've been pretty busy this week getting everything together. You can see that there are some plants on the table here. These are all the plants that I picked out for this week's restock, and some plants that just needed some updated pictures as well. So yesterday on Thanksgiving, I kind of treated it as just a day to get all of my shop stuff together. I did not celebrate Thanksgiving this year, but if you did, happy Thanksgiving. So I went around to the studio and I picked out the plants that need new pictures. I picked out plants that I wanted to add to the shop. And pretty much the goal for Black Friday for me every year is that I'm trying to get rid of as much stuff as possible. Just because Christmas is coming up, and last year I did not do that well during Christmas. I just don't think a lot of people shop plants like at that time. They're spending time with family, you know what I mean? People are just focusing on regular gifts, not like plants. So I wanna just try to get as much stuff out of here as possible. And then I will be having one more shipment for the year coming for December, and then the shop will be on vacation probably the last 2 weeks of December for the holidays. So let me go ahead and show you guys all the plants that I updated their pictures and all the plants that I restocked this week. So first we have this Aglaonema CM Jade variegated. This is a pup off of one of the larger ones that I have for sale. Super cute, and it has really nice variegation. We have Philodendron Strawberry Shake. This one was already on the shop, but it did put out this little leaf here, so I wanted to capture the new leaf. It's still growing and it has a new one on the way. These are Alocasia Dragon Scale variegated. These were also on the shop, but they've grown a bit since their picture. These are actually growing really fast and they are considered high variegation. 2 Philodendron Florida Beauties. And then I also have a few Monstera Albo, some new, some old that just needed updated photos. We have this one leafer here, and then we have this one here, and it has some new growth on the way. We have this Monstera Albo as well, and we have this Monstera here. And we also have this big one here. This one is in an 8-inch pot. It was a bottom cut, so it started putting out these new leaves over here. This one is a good one if you're looking for a more established Monstera Albo. It's in an 8-inch pot. It's going to need an up pot very soon, but it's also good because it has a good base, and you're not gonna have to worry too much about it because it's super established. Since it was a bottom cut, right now it's putting out these type of leaves, but it has beautiful variegation, and if you wanted to, you could cut it again and you could have multiple plants out of this. The next plant here, this is Syndapsis Blue Albo. I put one of these up. The other one, I am gonna keep it as a mother plant so that I can just chop and prop it for the store, but I did put this one up. These two right here are Anthurium Dock Block Michelles. We've had these, but they definitely needed updated pictures because they have grown quite big since their last one. So I went ahead and updated these guys as well. We have another Aglaonema CM Jade variegated. This one's a little bit lower variegation. These are Hoya Walleniana UT 152s. These were on the shop for a few months and they weren't selling, and they've definitely grown so much. They are much bushier now. So I definitely wanted to capture their new look. I'm pretty sure that they're gonna sell now because they are more bushy and they're gonna have some updated pictures. Sometimes taking updated pictures of your products makes a big difference because it might not be selling, but the moment you update the picture, somebody will see it and then usually it gets purchased, at least from my experience. So that's why I really wanted to get the pictures updated because some of them have just been on the shop for too long. So yeah, these are what these guys are looking like and they're looking really good. And then we have a Hoya New Guinea Ghost right here. And then I went through all the propagation boxes that I have, and a lot of the fluval plants are ready to be sold as well. We have another Hoya New Guinea Ghost here. And since a lot of these plants are in fluval, I do consider them starter plants because they're just in a little 2-inch cup. Starter plants are a great way for you to get some of your more expensive wish list plants at a smaller size and a cheaper price. So I really do like having these small starter plants on the shop because then there's something for everybody. Not everybody wants a giant plant. If you don't know what this substrate is, this is called fluval stratum. It's a substrate made specifically to grow aquarium plants, but it has a lot of nutrients in it and it works great for propagating regular plants as well. So whenever I'm struggling to propagate something, I tend to stick it in the fluval stratum and it really helps root it faster. So I've been doing this a lot lately and I've really been liking it. I also like this because I can ship it just like this to you and I don't have to worry about potting it up or anything. This is also great if you're into more of the semi-hydroponic stuff, because then you don't have to worry about taking it out of the soil and stuff like that too. This is great. If you do get a plant that is in some type of semi-hydro like this, perlite, pond, leca, whatever, you can do whatever you want with the plant. You can pot it in soil if you want. You can keep it semi-hydro. Just keep in mind with fluval stratum, this does break down over time. So this is not a long-term thing. This is just really to start propagating and get those roots going. So eventually you're going to have to transition this out of it. So when I do go to ship these type of plants, I do just tilt them and I drain the water out as best as I can. I will put another cup on top of them and I will tape it really tight so that no water will leak out or anything like that, but it's still like hydrated for the transit. And then all you have to do when you get it is just give it a little bit of water. You don't want to water it to the point where it's like overflowing the substrate. You just kind of want to make the water level like 1/3 or 1/2 of the container you're using. Like I said, you don't have to keep it in this. This is just a quick propagation method to get those roots going fast. I also did put up this Monstera adansonii aurea propagation as well. It's a 2-leafer. Here we have a Hoya fungi or fungii, and this one here is a Syndapsis jade variegated. Then I also put up 4 of the Alocasia cuprea corms. So we have this one here, we have this one, and we have these 2 here. So these 4 have been growing a little bit. I've been keeping pretty much all the little propagations like this. I keep them in the acrylic plant display cases and I just keep them moist and keep it shut, and they do so well in there. I'm so excited to bring that product back, by the way. Don't worry, it is coming back. So that is everything that I put up on the shop yesterday. The site is ready to go. We have a few more minutes before I launch the promotion and send out the email. So this year for Black Friday, I'm running a 15% off your entire purchase, plants, accessories, merchandise, everything. And then I'm also going to be sending out a very special discount for everybody that is on my email mailing list, and they are going to be getting a 25% off coupon for the same thing. So in case you missed the 25% off because you weren't subscribed, I hope that encourages you to subscribe to the list, because I do send out really special codes just for them, just as a thank you for subscribing and keeping up with me. So you definitely can always expect something special around the holidays from me if you're on that mailing list. So you can go ahead and sign up on my website. Just put your name and your email and then you'll be signed up. I do not send a ton of emails. I send 1 a week, and that's on Thursdays when I do the restock. This weekend, I'm probably going to send another one just to give everybody a reminder that the sale is going to be expiring soon. But other than that, I usually do not send more than 1 email a week. So I do not spam you. So I'm just going to jump off camera for a bit and get the shop ready. And then after that, I'm going to actually do some propagation stuff with you guys. So we're going to chop up some plants and do some more fluval propagation as well. So I will see you guys in a little bit, and I'll give you guys some updates on how Black Friday is going. I am back and it's been a few hours. I went and had lunch. I got the shop all ready to go for Black Friday. I sent out the promotion. It's live. There's so many people on the shop website right now. People have already purchased things. So thank you guys all so much. It's only been a few hours and we've gotten a ton of things sold. So thank you guys so much. Hope you guys did enjoy the promotion that I was able to provide to you. What I would like to do today is pot up some of the propagations that I have remaining around the room. I also did chop a few of my personal plants, and I will be chopping the variegated micans as well today. So I will show you guys that a little bit later, but let's first deal with these water props that I have here. These have all been sitting in water for a few weeks now. For the most part, I do just water prop, like especially the bigger plants. Smaller plants, I'll put them in stratum or perlite, but usually when a shipment comes, I will take a few top cuts, mid cuts, whatever, stick them in water in a little container like this, and I will literally just stick them in a bin on the floor and forget about them. I do need to be a little bit more on top of that, but time has not been on my side. And if you guys have been here for a long time, you guys would remember that that was James' job, where he would check on all the propagations and stuff. He still does, but he is super busy with work. So I told him, focus on what you need to focus on. I can figure it out. And you know, this is just a lesson that I need to learn, that I need to keep up with the stuff that I've got going on, or I'm gonna lose them. This is another reason why I haven't been taking a lot of water props like this for a little bit, just because I can't stay on top of it. I just have a lot going on in my head all the time. Like this completely will slip my mind. I've actually gotten a few comments asking If I do the shop full time, that is no, I do not do the shop full time. Could I do the shop full time? I probably could, but it is scary leaving a job that you've been with for almost 10 years. And I really do like the job that I do. I get to work from home. I'm very happy and comfortable in that job. So this is, I wouldn't say it's a side hustle because it brings in a lot of income. This shop does support me and James a lot, but I just don't think that I'm ready to leave my full-time job where I get a steady paycheck every 2 weeks or whatever. I'm thinking in maybe in the next 2 to 3 years, for me to go full time, it just cannot be ran out of my home. I will have to get like a warehouse space to do this, and that's gonna cost a lot of money because I do not want a storefront. I don't care how much money I could possibly make from a storefront. I don't want to do it. I would prefer a bigger studio or warehouse space that is off of my home premises that I could potentially do full time and have people come by like appointment or something like that. Not just like full on get a commercial space, have a storefront. That's not something I want to do. I just do better by myself. And a lot of the times when I'm doing stuff in here for the shop, I'll be honest with you guys, I'm in my pajamas. The only reason I'm dressed up, like on certain occasions, you'll see me completely dressed up like today, is because I have something else to do later. So anyway, moving on, we have a few water props in here. They've been in here for a little bit, so let's see what we got. First, we have these three here. These are Philodendron Jungle Boogie. I do have a pretty decent sized Jungle Boogie in my personal collection I keep in here. I keep it over there. I kind of neglect it, I'm not gonna lie. I did recently chop it because it reached the top of its pole. The reason I chopped it was because once it hit the top of the pole, it started producing these little dinky like leaves, and I think it's because it needs a repot, so that's probably why. So I decided to cut those off, and then this is like the mid cut here. I'm thinking I'm just gonna keep it like this and just pot it up in potting mix, and then these two I'll probably pot in stratum, so I'll do that. I also have this little propagation of a Philodendron gloriosum. This is propped off of my plant. The thing with my gloriosum is that for some reason, I don't have a picture of it or a video, I'm just gonna try to explain it. So you guys know that this plant is a crawler. A crawler meaning that it will grow this way instead of this way. So I had it in like a regular pot, but I had it in a big enough pot where it still had room to grow this way. I used to chop and prop it a lot. So the most recent growth point that it was putting out, which is this one, it started growing upside down like this. I don't know why it was doing that, but it was growing out like this, and instead of growing like that, it was growing upside down like this. No matter what I would do, it just kept growing upside down. I chopped it back all the way, and all the other leaves, they were like looking not that great anyway. So I just completely restarted with that plant. It's down to just like a little chunk, and I just have it rehabbing until it grows nice and beautiful again. But I did take this little prop here. This leaf got damaged because it got stuck, but it does have a nice leaf on the way. So probably once this leaf unfurls, I'll probably just get rid of this one, and then I'll just let this one grow out for a little bit as well. Sometimes with the plants, I just get them potted up and I just wait on them because you just don't know what they're gonna do. Sometimes being patient is the way to go because it can turn into a really beautiful plant. Even though it's not that good looking right now, give it a few months, it's probably gonna look really nice. It'll probably have like 2 or 3 leaves, and then it'll be ready for sale. And then here I have these 2 strawberry shake 1 leaf cuttings here. Both have like small roots, but enough for it to be potted up. I don't wait too long before I pot up the plants because they're gonna do fine regardless. I don't sell them until I start seeing the roots wrap around the pot. That's why I use the clear pots, because I don't want to sell you a plant that has like just this amount of roots. Like, I'm not gonna do that. I like to just get started early on it because then it gives it time to grow, and then it's more established when I put it on the shop for you guys. For the most part, I cannot control what a plant does. I cannot control the type of plants that get sent to me when I order from Wholesale. That's why I unpot all of them to check their roots, because I've definitely talked about it before where I've received plants that have no roots at all. I try to make sure that the plants are established before I send them out. I can't control everything, but that's something that I do try to control. The nature of this business is very particular. We are selling live things. Sometimes things are just not going to go how you want them to go. Definitely have experienced some good times and bad times for sure in this business, but I love it, so I continue. Some things just with the plant you cannot control, especially when you're shipping plants in a box. You have to be ready to take that risk to do it. So that's why I try to control as much as I can in here before they go out so that we can have less problems in the end. Your plants could be totally fine here, they get packed up, they arrive to you, and then they don't make it. Things obviously happen, and you know, I will always try to make it right with you guys if anything was to happen. So yeah, not everything is in your control, but you can control certain things. Just try not to cut corners with this type of business because you really cannot afford to. It's not worth the quick buck to sell something that's going to die as soon as somebody gets it, you know what I mean? And is that a lot on Facebook purges, so just be careful of that too because a lot of people will ghost you as well. So just be careful of who you're buying from, but that's why I make these vlogs, so that you guys can really understand the process and see what I'm doing. I'm trying to just bring you guys beautiful plants at a good price and show you the ups and downs of this type of business. So that's where I'm trying to go with this. The last one I have in water is this little Florida Beauty. This is a medium sized one leafer. Got some roots here, has a new leaf coming in as well. The one leaf Florida Beauties always do the best. You will have a better time selling a plant at this size than trying to sell a 5-leafer or something like that. Yes, there are people that want to buy that 5-leafer, but if you're trying to get rid of the plant fast or whatever, chop up the plant, you're probably gonna make more money that way anyway. People do not care how long you've had the plant, how long you've been growing it. I really just prefer selling 1-leafer or 2-leafers because this plant does grow a bit crazy sometimes, and it is kind of hard to ship it at a large size. I also did a few small cuts on some of my Hoyas. These two little ones right here, these are so cute. These are Hoya Australis Lisa. This will be a cute little starter plant that I can put in Fluval. This was actually my very first Hoya, and I remember I went on Facebook, somebody was selling them. I remember going to her house to pick it up, and she had this incredible Hoya collection in her house. It was insane, and she showed me everything. It was so cool. And this was like years ago, but I have chopped this plant so many times because I just like them small. But yeah, I took these little two right here, so I'm gonna pot them up in stratum. This one right here is called a Hoya multiflora. This one is not really known for its leaves. It's pretty basic. It's known for the blooms, which you can see it's trying to bloom here. I still cut it anyway because it's gonna bloom again, trust me. This plant blooms so frequent. This one's a really good one to have in your collection if you are all about Hoya blooms. This one is really nice. I gave this one a chop because it's getting a little too tall for what I like. So we're gonna do this one in stratum as well. Then these two little guys, these are just Syndapsis Jade Satin Variegated. These are just really, really tiny guys. All right, so let's do the potting mix ones first because that's the most messy. I have my little tiny bin here. You guys know I love my containers. Like, I am the container lady. Everything has a place. Like, everything just needs to be in a container. I have this small one for like small projects. I have like a medium sized one, and then I have like the really large one. And I'm just gonna do some 4-inch pots and using my Target tray as a little potting mat situation. You guys love these. This is a little clear tray that you can find at Target in the container section. It's by their brand Bright Room. The one that is 10 by 10 by 2. These are what I use around the room to hold all the plants, but I also like to use them for when I'm doing small little projects like this. I remember when I first got into Hoyas, I was so scared to like propagate them because you can't really see like their like nodes and stuff. They kind of just show up. I don't know. And I remember talking to somebody who like specializes in like selling Hoyas. She literally told me, she was like, literally just cut it and just stick it in dirt and it will grow. Just cut it and just pop it in there and leave it alone. And it worked. So yeah, that's what we're doing here as well. I just cut them and just stick them, and then a few weeks later you'll start seeing roots, especially in the stratum. They love the stratum. They grow so fast. I definitely feel that Hoyas do best in semi-hydro. I think that they do so well. If you haven't tried any type of semi-hydro like Pon or Leca, maybe just start with like a Hoya or something like that. I know a lot of people are scared of doing semi-hydro, but I don't feel like you should be. I feel like semi-hydro is way easier to deal with than soil and stuff like that. It's just, since I buy plants in wholesale, they come in potting mix, so to transition from potting mix to semi-hydro, it's gonna take too long. So that's why I sell most of the plants in aeroid mix, because they're already used to it. But if I was a like propagation or like a store that mostly imported and had to cut all the roots down, I'd probably just be doing semi-hydro. After we're done this, we're going to chop up the variegated micans that I have. I have 2 of them. One is doing really well with the variegation. The other one is completely reverted. So I definitely want to cut that one to see if we can encourage some variegation, but I kind of feel like it's a lost hope. So about a month ago, I would say like a month ago now, I got in these 2 variegated micans for the shop, and they were, I think maybe like 2 leaves, maybe like up to here. They're on these planks that I got from Home Depot. They are quite large now and they have reached the top of the planks. So that is the more variegated one. Unfortunately, this is the one that's reverting. What we're gonna do is just make 1 leafers and pot them in stratum, and then once they start rooting, I'm just going to sell them. I'm gonna just quickly make some chops. I will probably leave it up to like here and repeat the process when it grows again. So here's one. This one just popped out. And I would say that the variegation on this one is pretty stable for the most part, but it's not like consistent the way that it looks. So this one, you can kind of see it, but it's like kind of faint compared to like this one, but it's still variegated, you know? And the reason I want to do 1 leaves is because eventually it'll put out 2 leaves, and probably once they put out 2 leaves is when I'll sell them, or I'll just sell them as 1 leafers, but they're gonna put out another leaf at some point. This plant is not cheap, and there's no way that it's going to sell at this size. It's just not happening. And even at this size, it's very expensive. Same thing with the variegated Milano Chrysum. They are still kind of up there. So I'm probably gonna cut 2 more. We have this one here. This one though, he got like damaged somehow. You can see like it's a little crusty here, so we'll probably just rehab this one. And you know, I think I'll do 1 more. We have this guy here. So now we're left with just the 3 again, and then once it grows up, we will do the same thing. And then this is the reverting one. I'm just gonna chop it up. There is like no signs of irrigation. So I'm really hoping that chopping this one up will encourage it to put out some variegated ones, because that does happen, you know, not all the time, but does happen. So we're gonna see. It can't hurt because it's already not doing anything. So I might as well just try. And it's strange because it was variegated at some point, like down here and here, but the starting leaf wasn't. So we might have some hope there. And I'm gonna cut this one all the way down to where the first variegated leaf was. So I'll keep you guys updated on these 2, but let's work on those. The one thing that is good about this plant is that like it is just a philodendron micans, and just because it's variegated doesn't mean that it's like difficult to grow or anything. It grows the exact same way as a regular one. Just the difference is usually with these variegated ones, people tend to just grow them on a plank or a pole or something, just going straight up instead of trailing, because you usually get this plant at this size. You don't really get this plant as like a bushy hanging basket. You could if you really wanted to, but most people just usually get like a single leaf or a 2 leaf cutting and grow it from there. it is now time to pack the Black Friday weekend orders. So I did get quite a few orders this weekend. Sale is still going on until midnight tonight. So I do anticipate probably getting a couple more. And if I do get any additional orders, I'll just pack them up later tonight, or I'll pack them up in the morning so that they can all be shipped out tomorrow. I did go ahead and send a reminder email to everybody on the mailing list who did not open the email, just in case that they didn't see it, so that they don't miss out, because you are able to see who opened it and you are able to see who didn't. So I did go ahead and send another email to the people who didn't open it, just in case they just missed it, because I'm pretty sure everybody's email boxes were getting blown up this weekend because of Black Friday. So hopefully everybody was able to get what they wanted this weekend. I know for sure we got a couple wish list plants in the bunch, so I am so happy that you guys were able to get whatever you wanted. I'm so sorry if I sound like I'm out of breath. It's because I literally am. I've been pretty much just prepping everything, getting it ready so that I can start packing as soon as I'm done this portion. I've already picked out all the plants. I've already wrote the thank you cards. I have the table all set up. What I'm doing right now is just making some potting mix bags for the people that ordered them. I had some pre-mixed bags already, but I already went through them. You guys see me do this a million times, but since I have a few, I'm just doing it like here on the floor because I have no space on the table. This one is a perlite order. Each bag is also weighed. So I do sell coarse perlite like this by itself, and I do sell my custom potting mix too. And I have my scale over here. So when I do the potting mix bags, any type of potting mix that I do, I just make sure I squeeze all the air out of it, and then I will just lay it flat, and I will also tape it so that it doesn't open in the package, because that's like the last thing you want, is to open up your package and then you have potting mix everywhere. And I think that's the only perlite one. So now I'm just gonna make my big batch of potting mix like I normally do. There is also no ratio to this. It's just pretty much what I feel looks right. There is usually always more of the cocoa husk though, because that is what's going to absorb the moisture. Everything else in here is so that it's a little bit more chunky, so that when you go to water your plants, the potting mix isn't like so wet and dense, because that is what can lead to root rot. So you want to make sure that if you are taking care of like aeroids and Hoyas, that you get them a really good chunky potting mix. And if you do like using soil from the store, you can just simply add in things like perlite and like orchid bark and stuff to make your potting mix a little bit more chunky so that the roots can breathe better. So I do sell different sizes on my shop. I sell 1 pound, 2 pound, and 3 pounds. So I'm just gonna go ahead and finish this up, and then I will show you guys all the plants that sold as well. Like I said earlier, I already prepped everything. So we have all the orders here and all the thank you notes here. And I just wrote like happy holidays on the front. I'm definitely going to be reworking the whole thank you card thing a little differently once I run out of my current ones. I'm going to be doing it a little bit differently so that I can like actually handwrite you guys like a note like when I can. But yeah, I'm in the process of designing new ones. I'm just waiting for these to all go so that I'm not like over consuming, you know what I mean? So I just want to use up what we have. So I have all the potting mix. I have them under the table, have the boxes under the table. I have all the polyfill over here. Everybody's like pots and stuff that they ordered, I've already picked those out. So let me show you guys the plants. So we do have a few plants that are in fluval stratum. And when I ship these, I do like tilt them to drain the water out as much as I can. Just keep in mind that this is a substrate that really just stays moist a really long time. So you have to be careful with this. The top of it can mold really easily. And if that does happen, it's just the nature of the product. Just remove it and you'll be fine. So I just try to remove as much water as I can. It's only going to be in a box for a few days, so they'll definitely be okay, especially now because it's not hot anymore. That's why in the summertime you don't really see me using this on the shop, because it can be really, really hot in the summertime and that's definitely going to mold. I think it's better to use this to ship in the colder months. It is the nature of the product. It's not because there's root rot or anything like that. Just if this gets too moist and humid, it can mold. Just remove the top of it. So let's get into the plants. We have two of the Alocasia cupreas, Syndapsis jade satin variegated, Hoya fungii, Hoya New Guinea ghost, Philodendron Florida beauty, Anthurium clarinervium, Hoya wallineana 152, Monstera albo, another Monstera albo, Philodendron brandy, and Philodendron red Anderson. And as always, I will be cleaning the fronts and the backs of the leaves with my neem oil dish soap and water solution. This is just something I like to do. It ensures that the plant is not dusty, has no water stains, no dirt on it, nothing like that. It'll be nice and shiny. It's not sticky or anything. It's just like a little cleaning method that I like to use before they go out, and once a week in the plant room as well.